Hello, and welcome to the 101st episode of Recluse Horror. This is a bi-weekly horror movie podcast. Forgot what I was for a minute. With me today is Kira.
Hey.
So I obviously am quite out of practice. It is literally it is Mother's Day. It is a real-ass Mother's Day podcast that I'm doing today because even though I had a month off, I didn't even accidentally watch a horror movie. I feel like that's something that I should have been able to do. Like, at some point.
At some point.
Right? In a month? So Kira actually did not watch the movie with me.
No, I did not.
So this is a friend of mine, by the way, who has obviously not been on the podcast before, but yeah, she didn't watch the horror movie with me, but she likes horror movies.
I do like horror movies.
What's your favorite horror movie?
Fuck. I don't know, I'm really bad at picking favorites of things. I was watching Cube earlier. That movie's pretty weird.
It is.
I don't know, I like it.
Cube's pretty good.
As far as, I don't know. Really bad at picking favorites of shit. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's hard when you're just put on the spot like that, too. Unless you have a prepared answer. I did not prepare her for this at all. I just told her I'm going to do the podcast, and she's in the room, so she's doing the podcast.
Here I am.
So, today I watched Desolation from 2017. I actually was planning on trying to find a movie about a mother, because it was going to be a Mother's Day episode, and I'm literally actually watching it on Mother's Day. I actually forgot that I was going to do that, but I watched one that had a mother theme anyway.
Oh, yeah, it just happened.
Yeah, which is lucky. It seems planned out, except for that I ruined it by saying that no, it wasn't at all planned out.
How did you find that movie? Like, what made you decide to watch that one?
So it was just on Netflix, and I was looking through movies that I hadn't seen, which actually I have built up a few on Netflix now that I haven't watched a horror movie for a month.
No, true.
So, yeah, it was on there, like pretty close to the top, and I went down Netflix is different depending on, what stuff you watch, but obviously, in my house, a lot of horror movies do get watched.
That's pretty much all that's watched.
Yeah, pretty much. Horror movies are like anime or like...
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. That's it. Comedies that we've seen 1,700 times, right?
Like random sitcoms.
Random sitcoms, yeah.
Yeah, on like 10 TVs.
Yeah, on like 10 TVs. But, yeah, so I went down a few rows and, like, I had seen literally everything on the, like, 5 rows underneath that. And I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna watch that one. So it's about this woman and her son and her best friend. They don't say they're best friends, but it's assumed.
Okay. And
they go into the woods to after the death of the woman's husband and father of the kid, obviously, and they run into problems. They run into a horror movie because they're in the fucking woods, and that's gonna happen when you go into the woods.
Yeah, just don't go outside.
Just don't go outside.
It helps.
Yeah. Also, don't stay inside when there's a killer. There's this thing in horror movies that drives me fucking nuts, which is like, you can like break through a window in almost every house and just get out.
Yeah.
Did you know that?
No.
Did you know that windows open?
No, they fucking don't.
They swear to God. Like, sometimes they get painted shut. Like, in a lot of the houses where I live, they are painted shut. But you know what? Then you can still just break through the window.
You can still break the window.
Mm-hmm. The screen is not an impenetrable source of stopping you. Actually, like, you can accidentally break it.
Nah, it's psychological. It's like a force field.
I don't know, man.
I don't know. People don't get that idea. They can just walk out of their house. Which I'd probably forget that. I don't ever want to leave my house. So.
That makes sense. Totally makes sense. This one was, I feel like for most people, this would be a hit or a miss. Kira, I don't think you would have liked this one very much.
Why not?
It's a little bit slow.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually a fair amount slow. They spend a lot of time on the emotional angle. Like I said, they've lost the husband and dad. And they spend a lot of time on that, which is actually kind of nice because they do it well. Mm. But it's also like, I thought this was a horror movie at points. The acting was pretty good. Every kind of all the other aspects were fairly decent. The child actor was surprisingly decent considering he had a pretty demanding role for a kid.
That's cool.
Yeah. But beyond that, it just doesn't really, like, the actual horror movie that they stumble into is one that's, like, pretty much been done every which way you can do it. They don't really improve upon the formula too much, at least as far as, like, the specific horror subgenre that this belongs to, which I would just keep nebulous for the sake of I don't do spoilers on the podcast. I'm sure I've told you that before.
Okay.
Yeah. You can't spoil it, so you didn't even see it. So.
Someone dies, I saw that much.
Yeah. Yep. People die in horror movies. That's a thing that happens. But, it's the one thing that this did pretty well, is, like, all the horror movie tropes of people behaving, like, really super badly and tripping over everything that exists and, like, not checking, the map or whatever, whatever happens in those. It's pretty good about that.
Okay.
Whenever they step away from, like, why would you do that? They have a good reasoning for kind of doing it, which is sort of refreshing if you've seen a lot of horror movies.
Yeah, they're not just, like, doing random shit that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah,
like,
let's split up to cover more ground, or, like...
Yeah, like, something that's just, like, not a decision anyone would make in real life. It's like, why are you doing this?
Yeah, so much of that in horror movies. And this one actually does a pretty good job of not falling down that path.
That's cool.
Yeah. The director for this one, their name, I do not know their gender, but their name is Sam Patton. And this was the first...
Patton.
Yeah, Sam Patton. And this was the first thing that they had ever directed. Like a feature length, at least. They've done 2 shorts, directing-wise. But the directing, I felt, was pretty good. The cinematography and everything is good. One of the other forest-themed horror movies that I've seen recently, and many of them that I've seen, did a pretty bad job of, like, making it feel like they're out in the middle of nowhere because they stayed in this one contained little area. And you don't feel like that in this. They do a good job of, like, making you feel like each of the areas, even though it's wooded, looks slightly different in a way that
it's
and
not
they
just
show
one environment through the movie.
Exactly. Yeah, it doesn't look like they're just, like, 2 steps away from the last place they were. Like, they actually do show, like, pretty different paths and stuff like that, so that's kind of neat. But
that's cool. I feel like a lot of movies I see that are, like, deserts do that shit a lot. Where it's like, you've been in the same place this whole movie.
Yeah.
Like, and they're obviously not, but it just, everything is so similar. It's kind of hard to distinguish it at all.
Right.
Same with movies like In the Woods, like you were saying. Like,
yeah.
So that's good.
Yeah. I would definitely agree. Desert, that is a really hard thing for, like, especially small filmmakers to do, unless you show, like, a lot of walking scenes, and of course that gets tedious.
Yeah.
Because that'll show it even if you're walking from one place that looks exactly the same to another. Like, just the level of walking and the amount of walking can be...
It, like, conveys it.
Yeah, can convey it. Otherwise, all you can do is, like, here, we're gonna put this, like, little shrub here, and then you will pan back to the shrub and it's really far away, or just,
Yeah.
Or, like, look, this area doesn't have a shrub, and, oh, look, here's some litter from somebody who camped here 800 years ago, and all that. Yeah. But, this had a lot of, even though it took place in the woods, there's, like, a lake place, and then there's, like a campground place, and then there's, like, just different looking areas of the woods, and then there's a clearing, and then now they're staying in a place where it's, like, a really close forest, and yeah, so it's pretty good at that. That can be really tough, to do. They I don't know whether they scouted for locations or not, but if they didn't, then they were at least mindful of, like, this place is going to look exactly like this other one. Let's not film here.
Let's not do that again.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't really have a whole lot more else to say about this one. I think probably my favorite part of this, for the most part, was the performance of the child actor. The child actor plays a character named Sam, who... He just does a really good job. He's like 13, and kind of a weird age for kids in general, and then he's just lost his father, and I thought they did a very good job of showing him being, like, clearly not okay with what's going on, but trying to work through it. And then when shit hits the fan, like, I feel like he's, in a lot of places, like, he's more together than his mom is, which kind of makes sense because, like, the way that they've shown her before, she's a little bit neurotic and she's totally grief-stricken and, like, all of this stuff. Whereas the kid's like, fucking back burner, Mom. Like, like, we got shit to do.
We have shit to do.
Yeah. Stop treating me like I'm, you know, like 7 years old or 6 years old or 3 years old or whatever age you think I am, and, like, realize you're gonna have to, like, rely on me to a certain degree in the situation that we're currently in.
Yeah, so what exactly happened? Like...
So, they go... You mean to the father, or just, like,
well,
through
just,
the
like,
movie?
what was the horror movie aspect of it? Like, what was the situation they wound up being in?
I'll tell you... Hold on, I'll pause this and tell you. Yeah, because no spoilers, but I'll pause you and pause and tell you. One moment. So I just basically explained the entire plot of the movie, or at least the end game of the movie, to Kira. What did you think about that? Do you think that you would have been interested in watching that? The way that it went?
Yeah, probably not. Like, I don't know. I think I would be interested in watching it, but I can't. I'm not convinced I would care about it.
Yeah.
Like...
Yeah.
I would not be opposed to it, but there's a billion other movies that I would watch first.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. That I could see that one putting, like, unless you, as far as, like, who I would recommend this movie for, if you're really sick of, like, horror tropes gone wrong, this is a pretty good one. They're pretty good about those, you know, stupid behavior in the woods. They pretty much explain anything that they do that doesn't, on its face, seems like a bad idea, but in the circumstances, it's a pretty good idea. So if you're really sick of those, you know, people tripping over themselves and you know, again, like I said, like, not jumping out of the window or calling the cops or anything like that, there's really only a couple of things in there that stand out as to why, like, it doesn't really work. And some of those are pretty explainable without too much of a without too much of a hassle. You know, it's not a leap of logic to understand why some of these things, you know, didn't work out the way that they planned. So, yeah. Other than that, if you're really into woods, like, you know, woodsy horror movies, stay the fuck out of the woods movies. But other than that, I don't think anybody really needs to put it terribly high on their list. If you like to see what new directors are up to, that's Sam Patton. This is the first thing he did, and it's pretty competent on that level. I think the writing in places can be a little bit bland, but that's not a director's job. They don't write.
Yeah, it's not his fault.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you know if they have any other, like, movies that are out yet? Because I think you said this came out...
2017.
17, so last year. Yeah, do they have anything else that's, like, out?
No. They've worked on other stuff. This is the only thing that they've directed. There's 2 short films that they've directed. And then they worked on, like, The Purge... as miscellaneous crew or something like that, and a few other bigger, like, more well-known movies. But again, it's like miscellaneous crew. It doesn't even say what they were doing. Yeah. But yeah, I think based on what I saw here, I would watch something else that they directed. Hopefully they would have a better script, but again, like, there's only so much you can do. If they're like, here, this is the script, make this movie.
Yeah, you only have, like, so much room there.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's pretty much all I have to say about that. Do you want to just talk about horror movies?
Sure.
What horror movies do you like? Have you seen any good recently?
I haven't really watched any recently. Like, I don't know. I've been slacking on watching movies. My attention span has been, like...
Yeah, nothing.
Nothing, pretty much. But yeah, I've been trying to find, like, some other ones to watch recently, but I haven't had any luck. Like... I don't know.
With anything, yeah.
Yeah, not really. Or, like, if I do, it's something that I can't watch because it's not on, like, Hulu or Netflix or something.
Right. Yeah, and Kira also just recently started a new job, so that can be pretty time-consuming and brain-consuming. Yeah,
no, it's kind of made me just, like, not do anything but sleep, if given the option.
Yeah.
It's like I sat here and watched The Twilight Zone all day, and I don't think I looked at the screen but, like, 3 times. Like, I was, like, staring at the wall.
Yeah. You kind of don't have to for a lot of them.
Yeah.
And the other ones that you do, like, a lot of times, like, I don't know, if you've seen them as many times as I have, like, I don't need to look to know what's going on.
Yeah, there's so many of them that I've seen, like, a bunch of fucking times.
Yeah, for sure. Let's see. What's one of the best ones that you have seen recently? Is there anything that stands out as far as something that you saw that you were surprised by or you thought was really good? Or really, really bad?
Or really bad. I did watch that, the horror collection they put out for all of the Junji Ito mangas, there where they, like, made the anime adaptation of it. That was pretty terrible. Like,
was it?
Yeah, I was pretty disappointed about that, because I was really excited for, like, several months for that to come out. Cause, like,
right. Junji Ito.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it came out, and I was like, yeah, this kind of sucks. Like,
yeah.
I feel like they did as good of a, job conveying it to animation as they could have. But it just, like, does not look right. Like, the animation style's really off. Like, the characters are just not as great. Even though it's pretty much, like, direct retellings.
You just don't feel that.
Yeah.
That can be really hard with some stuff, too. Like, especially if it's like, adapted from longer materials sometimes. Because you have more time to get to know the characters. And your version of whatever you're reading when it's not acted is whatever you want it to be. So the delivery of a line is totally different in your head than it's going to be on the screen most of the time. Yeah,
because it's just however you, like, think of it.
If you think somebody's being a snarky asshole and there's nothing to contradict that, then they're going to be a snarky asshole. If they're going to be the sweetest, thing, it can be the same exact words, but you decided that, and there's nothing to contradict you unless the next panel shows them, like, putting their thumb at their nose and sticking their tongue out or something. Yeah, that's too bad. What is the name of that collection, too? I forgot.
I'm pretty sure they literally just named it the Junji Ito collection. Like, I don't think it has, like, any other title.
Okay.
But yeah, it's a short... All the episodes are pretty short. I think they're, like, 15 or 20 minutes long. And I haven't seen all of it, but I've watched, like, the first, like, 6 or 7 episodes of it, and I was like, I'm good on this.
Oh, that's too bad.
Yeah, like, I tried to get through it, and I was like, no.
That's not fun. That's not fun. What about a good one? Can you think of one that you've seen recently that's good?
Not really. I haven't watched any very recently. Like, I'm trying to think of what the last things I have watched were. I watched... Oh, shit, what is that movie called? It's the movie that has the really weird DVD intro. Where you have to, like, answer all the questions.
Oh, Memento.
Memento. Yeah, with the guy who's, like, writing the sticky notes on everything.
Yeah.
Like, I guess if you would classify that as a horror movie, like...
You liked that one?
Yeah, I liked that one a lot.
Yeah. I would say that's more of, like, a psychological thriller, but it is actually really good. I love Memento.
Yeah, that's really the closest thing to a horror movie I've seen recently.
That's a good one. If you haven't seen that, it's got Guy Pearce and Cypher. I don't know what his name is, but Cypher and Trinity, actually, from The Matrix.
Oh, yeah.
Are both in it. Forgive me for not knowing the names of those actors, but I just don't know their names. Oh, isn't it Carrie-Anne Moss?
I have no idea.
I think Trinity is Carrie-Anne Moss. I think that's her name. And that's who is in that movie.
Maybe. I have a really bad time with remembering actors' names. Like, it doesn't... Like, I can watch a million movies you're in and I probably won't remember it.
That's too bad. I used to be like that, and then I started focusing a little bit more on it, because I was like, I like this person. I'm going to see if there's something else of them. And for that, you kind of need to know their names.
Actually pay attention, yeah.
Yeah. I guess you don't really have to in this world if you're, like, actor who was in Memento and search that online, but...
Yeah, it's easy, but it's still also easier to just know.
Yeah. Then you don't have to... You can skip a step.
Yeah, like, every time you watch a movie with them in it, you're gonna be like, oh, fuck, what's this person's name?
Yeah.
Like...
For sure. Okay, do you have a favorite movie, period? Do you have, like, any genre, across any genre?
Fuck. Not Ponyo, but it's on there. It's around that spectrum.
Ponyo. Is it a different Miyazaki film that you're trying to think of?
No, it's not.
Okay.
I do like most of them, but it's not a Miyazaki movie I'm trying to think of. I don't know. Miyazaki, Akira. I like that movie a lot.
Akira's really good.
Ghost in the Shell.
Ghost in the Shell is really good. That Peter Chung, though.
That one. I'm pretty terrible with favorites of things, but I do like a lot of things in that realm, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you sound like such a weeb today.
Yeah, I fucking do every day. It's not my fault.
It's not. It's cool. You're allowed to like anime.
I mean, I could have just said it's fucking Hellsing and hit anime and manga with or horror with one go.
One go. Is that your favorite horror movie anime?
No, not really. Like, I'd say I like Perfect Blue way more than that.
That's my favorite anime.
Really?
It's Perfect Blue, yeah.
Yeah, Perfect Blue is extremely good.
Mm-hmm.
Cat Soup, I feel like that's kind of more surreal, but it's still like...
It's got horror-y... light toned, but the things that are happening are horror-ish.
Yeah, it's pretty horror-ish. There's, weird, surreal cat gore.
Cat gore. Mm-hmm.
Where they, cut the fucking pigs up and it's, all sectioned off into different pieces. I feel like there's some...
At this point, I would like to mention this is an anime. This is not a movie where they're cutting up cats.
Yeah, no, it's an anime.
I felt that important.
Not about that. You can't. This is not a snuff film.
No, Kira likes cats.
Yeah, no, this is not like some literature Peter would send you in the mail.
Yeah. Kira helps us name the neighborhood cats that roam my neighborhood really bad. So.
There's a lot of them. They are my best friends.
Makes sense. Okay. Is there anything else that you can think of that you would like to talk about to the two people who listen to this podcast?
I'm open to suggestions, but I don't have anything on the tip of my tongue. My brain is kind of out of whack today.
I mean, I get it. With all your mom activities that you had to do because you're such a mom. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, all my mom shit.
Had to talk to all of your, 15 and a half children and,
15 and a half times a piece.
Yeah. 15 and a half times a piece. Yep. Kira's not a mom. Kira's smart. Kira's smart and doesn't have kids, just like me. So.
I would be a mom. You don't know that.
That's true.
I'm not, but I could be.
It's true. Yeah, no, for real though. Happy Mother's Day to all you people who care about that, and happy not Mother's Day if you're. Nobody will be listening to this on Mother's Day because technically, by the time I get it out, there's no possibility of it being Mother's Day. So yeah, happy not Mother's Day to everybody who was like, I hate Mother's Day. Yeah, I don't know. I think that's pretty much it. I can't think of anything. I was just, if you wanted to shout random conspiracy theories or something like that, this is your opportunity.
I watched this, very long series of videos the other day that was just, about, random, internet legends. Mm-hmm. And it was honestly the most convoluted shit that I've ever, watched. I think I watched videos about this, weird internet event that happened between 2000 and 2000 and 2010, and it was just about these what forums, and then people were just it seemed very, I think it was called the what is that state, the Wyoming incident. I don't remember what the fuck Wyoming's called. Wow. And I didn't understand it. I've never watched anything or paid attention to anything about something for this long and not absorbed what the fuck it was about. It seemed like there was just weird forums on the internet where people were just talking about serial killing and the weird edgy internet Satanism and shit.
Yeah. Ooh, internet Satanists.
Yeah, not really. I don't know, just being fucking kill yourself, internet bullshit. But it was had this very long conspiracy attached to it, and like lore, and people were going. People were referring to killing people as cubing.
Cubing.
And the website was, the forums were on, are apparently called the Happy Cube. And I just
Is that why you watched Cube the other day?
No, actually, I watched that with, I watched those videos with Ashlyn, but funnily enough, what made me think of watching Cube today was her saying, like, bringing up those movies. So, I don't know. Sense. She likes cubes, apparently.
Cubes. She's a fan.
Cubing. Yeah, people just like kept posting ridiculous shit in the forums being like, what is your favorite tool to use for cubing people? I like to use a chainsaw. And it was like, what the fuck was the internet doing? Like,
that question could be asked 6,400 times a day.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't even come close. The Wyoming incident, huh?
The Wyoming incident. Something to that effect. I could totally be fucking that up, but...
There's
something to that effect.
There's another... I'm gonna have to look that up, because those weird conspiracy theories of crazy nonsense are, like... Not the ones that are, like, you know... government's trying to turn the frogs gay kind of stuff. That stuff is
just
like...
sick. I support turning the frogs gay 100%.
I mean, I get it. But yeah, I don't know, all of that, none of that, like, right-wing, like, conservative nonsense, libertarian, like, conspiracy theorist stuff. But, like, weird internet conspiracies and, like, internet lore kind of is interesting to me, so that sounds fun. There's one, actually, if you want to also, come up, like, see something equally as incomprehensible. I watched an entire video about this particular thing. And, again, it took me like 45 minutes to feel like I even had a slight grasp on the concept that they were trying to go into. And it's called... Shit, I'm probably going to have to look it up because I cannot remember the name of it. Yeah, I'm going to pause and look it up. I just remembered, I paused it to try to look it up and I just remembered what it is. It's called the Time Cube.
The Time Cube?
I have no idea why Cube keeps coming up today, but the Time Cube.
Time Cube.
The theory is... And the explanation for it is completely incomprehensible. But it's an internet thing that started back in, I think, like, the late 90s, where this one guy, and it's literally one guy, who came up with this theory that 4 days are happening all at once. So every day is actually 4 days. And just as that sounds ridiculous and kind of inexplicable, and how do you come to this conclusion, that's exactly kind of... My explanation for it is as explanation-y as you're gonna get out of a real logical person. So.
I don't know. I may be wrong. I thought that day-night cycle was kind of based on the sun and the moon. So, I don't know if they're just insinuating there's 4 stars in the planet.
Right.
Or, like, what is your measurement of a day? What the fuck does that mean?
Honestly, like, as much as comprehensive as the video that I watched was, they do not provide a lot of explanations for that make any sense, because it doesn't make any sense. It's just one crazy guy who spent way too much time on some weird theory, but doesn't understand the scientific process on, like, the most basic level. So,
yeah, like, you have no idea how this works.
Yeah. There's a podcast that is really good for internet history, if anybody's interested in it, if you're interested in it, called Down the Rabbit Hole.
Oh, okay, that sounds cool.
And I accidentally, that came on after I was watching a different video, and not the Time Cube one, but one of his videos, the Down the Rabbit Hole videos, came up after I was watching something else. And I just, like, let it play while I was, like, messing around on my phone. And then I got sucked into it. But it talks about, like, the history of, like, certain internet personalities, like, sort of like a where are they now sort of situation, or, like, a retrospective of, like, their whole publicly known life.
Yeah, so they're just talking about Chris Chan?
Yeah, stuff like that.
Okay.
But yeah, it's YouTube, some of it's YouTube personalities, like they did one on Spoonie. I don't know if you know who Spoonie is.
I don't think so.
He was one of the channel awesome people, or that guy with the glasses. He was one of the original people on that site. That's the one I think that came on. But there's a bunch of them that are older than that. That's probably the best known name that, to me personally. Then he does other things like that, like the Time Cube, which is, again, it's like an internet, like, phenomenon. Like, it got a lot of play on forum sites back in the 90s. Like, has anybody stumbled across this weird ass site called Time Cube? And goes into the whole history and, like, all the updates of the site that are known and, like...
Okay, that sounds pretty cool.
Yeah.
Have you... I guess it's somewhat horror related. There's a game that I found, like, a bunch of those, like, lore type videos about on YouTube. It's this game that was called Sad Satan. Like,
Sad Satan.
It's just, like, this weird, like, horror game. But apparently it was fast. Someone found it, like, on, like, the, like, archived internet, like the dark web. Just like the dark web.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't remember the context or the lore behind it, but it's just like this weird ass horror game that also just like in the surrounding myth is that it will like fry your computer. And like I guess people were finding like really fucking weird other files with the downloads. Like they would just be random like things from like animal cruelty to like just really fucked up random things, and no one really seemed to be able to figure it out. But yeah, it's just this random horror game. Like, there's a bunch of various YouTube videos where people are just like trying to figure out where it came from, or like talking about just the general lore surrounding it. But it was really, I don't know, seemed interesting. Yeah. I actually tried to, like, weirdly enough, I did try to download it one day, and it did actually crash my computer.
Oh, wow.
It didn't, like, permanently, like, mess it up, and it didn't seem like I got any, like, viruses from it.
That's what I was going to say, is, like, I wonder if the part of the crashing is the rat viruses or something.
A lot of people were saying that it was giving them, like, Trojan viruses and stuff on their computer.
Yeah.
So I'm sure, to some degree, like, I guess it also depends on what source you download it from, or like if the virus is just like somehow part of the game. I don't know.
Right. Yeah. It could be like actually embedded into the game, in which case anybody who downloads is gonna have a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's interesting. What did you say was Satan's what?
Sad Satan.
Sad Satan. That's what it is. Okay. Yeah. I'm definitely not going to download that, but I'm definitely going to look up videos.
Yeah, look it up on YouTube. It is kind of weird. I don't remember the plot of the game. But it was more so just everything surrounding it was incredibly weird.
I know I've told you about Petscop, right?
It sounds familiar, but I don't know.
Petscop is a video game. There's Let's Play videos on YouTube about it, but it's a game that was supposedly like in production on the PlayStation 1.
Okay.
And it, I actually did an episode about it, which is the only episode that I've done that's not about it, like an actual movie of any kind, like even a short film.
Okay. Because
I got sucked into these videos.
Okay.
And, it was supposedly released on PlayStation 1. If you ask people who are, I don't want to call them experts because I don't know their actual credentials, but like who are knowledgeable about the PlayStation 1, there are aspects of this game that could not be achieved on the PlayStation 1 using like the technology that was available. Yeah. But it has a deeper underlying meaning inside of the story, and then there's just a bunch of layers to it. It starts off as a game kind of like Pokemon, where you're trying to, catch a bunch of creatures, and then accompanying the game, the person who's playing it, who they refer to as Paul because that's the name that he puts in for his character, when he starts the game, he says attached to the game was this like little sticky note that says, and I don't know the exact wording because I wasn't preparing to talk about this again, but basically I turned, when I went down the stairs, instead of turning left, I turned right and became the Shadow Monster Man. And then it gives you, weird. And there's a date on it, like from like 1996 or something like that. And then it gives you like a code to put in to go to the Dark World, or I can't remember what it said. I don't think they called it the Dark World. But it turns from this really bright, happy, sunshiny game into this really weird, like not overly, like hokey horror themed anything, but it's really creepy. And the longer that you play, the less grip on reality, or not play, but the longer you watch it, the less grip of, like, what's going on in the game and what's going on with the backstory that, you know, like, it just all becomes completely, like, is time and space melting in this series of LP videos? Like, what's happening to the characters? What's happening to the guy? What are these other messages that you're getting? What are the significance of the dates that these things are released on? And, like, it's a total rabbit hole, but they're really fun, especially, like, the videos themselves are really neat. But if you go to, like, Reddit, I will...
Oh, yeah.
Reddit hole, like, serious Reddit hole.
I can imagine around that there would be. Yeah.
And there's a bunch of other, like, videos that you can look up. I would suggest, like, if you want to, of course. But if you're interested in it, watching the actual LP videos by themselves first. Mm-hmm. And then there's some videos that you can find online that, like, sort of go into all of the details, and they, like, cipher through... not cipher through. They, sift through all of the Reddit stuff and, like, give you things that are popular theories and things that seem to make the most sense. That, like, analyze the game, and what it's supposed to mean and all of that. But it's really neat. It's one of the coolest things that I've ever seen anybody do in a YouTube series. If it's not a real game, it's one of the neatest, like, horror art, like, short video game, like, based
hoaxes.
Yeah. Like, not even hoax, because they don't even, like, they're not trying to push really hard, like, no, really, this is a real game. I really found this. They mention it once in the beginning, kind of, in the beginning of the very first video, and then they don't try to like
push that fact home that they just, like...
Yeah. So it's kind of like a movie, in that, like, you accept that this game exists in this reality, whether or not it did in real life, and, you know...
Okay, and so there's not been any, like, no one's ever been able to clarify what the deal with this fucking game is? Like, are there other reports of it existing, or, like...
It's pretty well decided by anybody who has any real thoughts about it, and anybody who can track down any information about it, that it's pretty definitely fake. Okay. But again, it's not like they're constantly messaging people and, like, no, really, and, like, trying to post photos of the thing. They just, like, they present it as such, you know? Yeah. But like I said, some of the technology in the game wouldn't have been available, or probably wouldn't have been available at the time, or maybe would have, like, doesn't matter. And then, the other thing is, like, a lot of the concepts, like, in the way that games were built at the time, don't really stand up. There's something else I was going to say about that. The game company, and, like, any information you can try to track down about it. The game company does not appear to be a real company.
That was kind of my thoughts. I feel like even if it was in production, like, for any significant amount of time, there would still be, like, some records as far as, like, the companies, like... Yeah. You don't just make a video game and not promote it, like, in any manner. Mm-hmm.
I think the name of the company is supposed to be, like, Garalina, or... Garalina, I don't know how you would pronounce it. It's like Carolina, but with a G. Okay. And nobody can find any record of that company ever existing. They never released another game, which happened, you know, back in the PlayStation days, like, not specifically for PlayStation, it was usually for PC, but, like, a company would form to try to build a game, it would fall through, and you'd never ever hear about them.
No, that was not unheard of, or even rare.
Yeah. But it just, like, there's no record of employees, there's no, like, tax record for the company, or, like...
There's nothing.
There's absolutely nothing. But yeah, I don't know, it's really kind of neat. It's something that horror fans, like, especially if you're somebody who falls into those rabbit holes, like, about different videos and stuff, it really does get you. And there are some explanations. It's funny, because after the first few episodes, there's enough information to connect it to a specific case of something that was real fucking sad and real fucking real. Okay. There's, like, names and things of people who really existed, and you can track them down, and it's, like, a case.
Oh, yeah, no, I remember you, I do remember you telling me about this now.
Yeah. And it's sad, by the way, if anybody's listening to this and didn't hear the Petscop episode, if you are not into, like, true crime, if you don't want to read about the case that is happening, do not look into this at all. It is a very sad case. It is a murder. And there's children involved, so like just stay away from it. Happy Mother's Day, by the way.
Happy Mother's Day.
But yeah, I mean, but anyway, they connect it to this case, and it's pretty clear that there's too many coincidences between dates that stuff is released, names, and all of this other information. It has to be related to that case. But there's all this other stuff that doesn't fit into that at all. That's clearly like, this is one thing that it wants to talk about, and then there's all these other things that it wants to talk about.
Okay, so it's all over the place, it seems.
Yeah, I am really excited to see. They actually have released, like, I think now 13 episodes. I've seen all of them. I really hope that there are more episodes coming soon, but it doesn't necessarily look like they will be. But I would really love to, like, see what else is going on with this. So much is up in the air right now where the episodes have left off that I'm just like,
Okay, yeah. So as of where they're at now, there is no, like, definitive ending so far. Okay.
Yeah, there's not a definitive ending. It seems like they're either at the point where they're going to take a break, or they are at a place where it's going to take a little time to continue on, just like where they left stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's a soft ending, but it feels like the ending of a season. Like,
okay.
The way that it goes, you don't expect there to be an episode soon, but like if it ended this way,
there's no indication that it's like going to be actually like completed.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
This is something that like it would be a very unsatisfying final ending, but it's a really good like end of season kind of ending.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Anyway, this episode has gone on for a really long time, so we should probably wrap it up.
Okay.
Thank you so much for being on with me, Kira.
Thank you for letting me. I didn't want to leave this couch.
Of course. And, yeah, I don't know. I think that's pretty much it. I've had really, really busy weekends. I've been actually going out and hanging out with people, which is...
What the fuck?
I know, it's fucking weird. It's not something that I do terribly frequently, and I've been trying to make myself do it, and I have. I think I saw, with the exception of like one person, I think I saw every friend in my entire world. Well, okay, where I live.
Yeah, every friend in your like area.
Yes, every friend in the place where I live, besides one, I saw this weekend.
God.
So, yeah.
It's overwhelming. It's a lot of people.
It is a lot of people, but it was really fun.
That's cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I got, like, no sleep this weekend. Oh, and I saw my brother, too, so...
Oh, yeah, now that you said that you wanted to see your brother, but I didn't know if you actually got to.
Yeah, I did. So, yeah, he's in town. He doesn't actually live in my area, but he was in town, so I got to see him. So, yeah, I basically saw pretty much everybody I know, except for, like, my mom and my grandma and my stepdad and my uncle. That's, like, it. Everybody else. Saw Kira. Saw Ashlyn. I saw Ashlyn at that thing.
Oh, yeah, no.
That first thing that I did.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
I forgot for a minute, too. I saw everybody. I saw literally everybody on the face of the planet that lives in my area.
Even the people's faces you don't want to see.
Yeah, I did.
Plenty of them.
Yeah. I didn't even tell you the story about the person that I wanted to punch in the face this weekend, so, yeah.
I would like to hear.
Okay. I'll say it off air. There's too many identifying details, I think, in that particular story, and I don't want to actually put this person on blast on the internet, even though the two people who listen to this podcast, A, don't care, and B, would never know them. True, and that would be the most incredibly vague thing. Mm-hmm. For sure. But yeah, so yeah, I guess that's my episode today. I don't really have like a rating. I usually do like a really stupid, meaningless rating. Like I'll rate something like 17.5, like disposable cameras. There's a disposable camera next to me, so yeah, I guess that's my rating. Is literally the thing that's next to me. I would give that movie from like the 5 minutes of that I saw. I would give it like half a big gulp. Half a big gulp. All right, yeah. Half a big gulp and 2 broken PlayStation 1 controllers. I love it. Those are also things near us, so. Oh yeah, I didn't think about that. Yeah, up there and over there. So yeah, it's completely arbitrary and meaningless. It means as much as that sounds. As it should be. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I don't do star ratings. I just don't.
Visit town.
Any kind of actual quantifiable, like, rating system, I feel like that diminishes a movie, and it's not helpful to people who are wondering if they're going to want to watch it or not. Like,
yeah, just saying this movie is 5 stars. Like, okay, that doesn't tell me anything.
I've watched a lot of movies that were rated 4.5. 5 is actually hard to get online, but 4.5 stars, 4 stars, 3.5 stars, and I've hated them.
Yeah, no, they're often terrible.
I've seen a movie that was rated 1.2 stars on something, and I fucking loved it. So
true.
It's just a meaningless number to me. Anyway, thank you so much for listening. If you're listening to the podcast, and again, thank you for Kira for coming on and talking to me about garbage nonsense, and mostly not horror movies, but
mostly not. Yeah.
I haven't done a podcast in a while, and Sam was way too tired to do the podcast. So, yeah, the things that I say at the end of the podcast. What are those? Oh. Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this podcast, please rate, review, subscribe, whatever it is on whatever platform that you found us. The best way that you can help out the show is to share it, either with someone that you love or someone that you think would enjoy it. If you would like to share it and the person that you're sharing it with does not have the same platform as you, or if you don't like the platform on which you found us, we are available on Stitcher, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Player FM, Podcast Addict, and pretty much any podcatcher out there. I think I got those all. And you can interact with us on social media on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. And also, I know that I have not posted a single photo to the Instagram since I went on break. But I hate doing that, is basically what it is.
Yeah, I mean, Instagram's a very annoying platform to use.
It is. Well, and especially because I have all the photos, like all the posters. Like, that's all I post on the Instagram.
Yeah. Pretty
much is those and, like, horror-related memes one time, I think.
Okay.
But the only thing... Oh, yeah, I have all those posters saved on my computer.
Yeah.
And you can't post to Instagram from a computer.
You can download, like, a smartphone emulator.
You can.
And download the application for the emulator so you can do it on your computer, but that's... No. It
is annoying. I've had one of those to play games on because my phone is shit.
Oh, yeah.
But also, it's technically, I looked into it, and it's a violation on their terms of service, so they could just delete my whole Instagram, and then I'd have to repost everything again. So...
That's such a weird thing they care about people doing.
I know, posting from their computer, like, what?
Yeah, like, what the
yeah.
You can actually, stupid. What's weird is you can go on to the website. There is, like, a mobile website as well.
Yes.
But you can't do anything. You can't even post anything. Like,
you can't post anything. All you can do is browse through stuff, or if you have a specific address to, like, a specific Instagram post.
Yeah.
That's, like, yeah, it's stupid. I have looked into it, and I actually there was a thing that I saw is like how to post Instagram photos from your computer, and the first thing it says in the article in big red angry letters is like, this is technically a violation of the terms of service. I've never had a problem with it, the person who said it.
Yeah, but you may.
But they could easily kick you off the platform, and it has happened. So I'm like, fuck. Anyway, so I'll try to get up to date on those. I don't know. I'll hopefully be able to post some of those. I just had specifically the last 3 weekends have been incredibly busy. I've had like multiple things to do every day, every weekend that I've had. But hopefully I'll have a little bit more time now. I've got a couple of weeks where nothing is going on. But I'm not making any promises at this point. Anyway, this has gone on for way too long, so thank you so much for listening, and Kira, did you have any final words?
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody. Good night.